Star Trek will not be presented tonight, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Coming to Kickstarter from the mind of Franco, the man behind Teen Titans Go to the Library, Faye and the Moon, and All Yeah Comics, comes the new LXT, the adversarial fighting card game, live now on Kickstarter. LXT, Lux vs. Tenebris. Imagine a loved one has been spirited away to a land of terror and torture. Would you be willing to go after them and fight through a horde of acolytes of the Dark One just to get them back? Developed as a role-playing card game that can be played multiple ways. The cards will have full-color illustrations on the front and chock full of stats and moves on the back. You can also get the LXT Who's Who book with origin stories and information about all the characters. Still want more? Also available is the LXT Dark Atlas book, filled with prose stories about all the baddies and illustrations from a wide selection of comic artists. There are plenty of add-ons you can purchase separately, like comic books, stickers, original art from the game, and more. It's going to be a howling good time. LXT, live, now on Kickstarter. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. It's time to welcome Franco back to Word Balloon, a little Franco Clanko, if you're familiar with the Ah Yeah podcast, where it's just me and Franco talking about things. Well, you just saw the commercial for what Franco wants to talk about tonight, and that's his new role-playing card game, LXT. Welcome, my man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. How you been?
I'm doing all right. Tell us the secret oranges of LXT.
Yeah, it was kind of a fun thing to do, something I had never really done before. But I was working with my buddy Jason, who does these type of games, and he's developed a bunch of these for a couple of different people, and had good experience with them. So basically, what it is, it's a card game where you can fight against another person or a couple of different people. And, you use dice and there's stats on the back, and all you need is the cards and the dice to play the game. So he was telling me about all these trials and tribulations he's had with various people with these things. And, he said, they're hard to get done because, the art is a lot, is a big component of this. And I was looking at some of the artwork, and I'm like, well, it'd be cool if we could do this and do this. He goes, yeah, but I don't really know any artists. And I'm like, hey, I'm an artist. Hello, I'm one right here. So we got together, with names and the whole concept, and did a bunch of the artwork, and it was just a lot of fun. So I'm like, why don't we just put this out and see where it goes? So I've never done a card game like this before. And I said, if we do the card game, I'd like to kind of add in an element of comic books to it, because that's my world. So I want to bring some comic book type thing into it, and we developed that. So we developed the card game, and then we developed all the characters for the card game, and then took the art from that and kind of wrote oranges stories for all the characters, and I created a Who's Who book. So the Who's Who book is literally the piece of art from the card, because the cards are very small. They're like baseball card size, playing card size. Yeah. So, I put the artwork larger so you could see it, and we wrote origin stories for all the characters in the game. But then, I was kind of, and I enlisted the help of my son, Nicholas Aureliani. So we wrote a lot of them together, And then I said, like we came up with some of these ideas for what other stories other than origin stories, and we decided, hey, it'd be cool to do some original horror type stories. So that's the Dark Atlas book. So what you're looking at here is the game cover art, and basically what it is Old Scratch, we call him. He's basically the ruler of the underworld. We call him Old Scratch, and he's sent out his minions, and they've come to our plane to collect souls and bring them back to his realm. And he's taking some souls of people who don't like that, and they're going back in to get them. Basically, they're going back in to fight all of his minions and fight Old Scratch himself to get the souls of their loved ones back. And that's the whole premise of the game.
Excellent,
So
man.
yeah, what you're seeing there is the cover art for the gameplay. So if it gets funded, we're going to create a game pouch that everything comes in, the cards, the dice, and all that stuff.
Very cool. And have you done? Because obviously, I see this cover, and that looks like your art. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's all of my art except for if you scroll down, you'll see the Who's Who book, and then the keep going. The Dark Atlas book. So there's the card art, and there's the cover to the Who's Who book. So all of the artwork in there is mine and written by us. And then the Dark Atlas book, we named it the Dark Atlas book because that's the cover right there. That cover is by Jaime Carrillo, who does some work for, he's done some Star Wars stuff for Acme and things like that. But I said, wouldn't it be cool to get a bunch of my friends? Because I show people like, Scoop McMahon and stuff like that. I show my art and stuff like that. And he'd be like, oh, that character's cool. I'm like, what'd be cool is if you draw your version of that guy. So I reached out to a bunch of friends, and we wrote a bunch of new horror stories in prose. So both books are in prose, so they're not actual panel to panel books. But I reached out to them, and I got a whole bunch of cool artwork. Their renditions of our characters. And I talked to Jaime, and I showed him, and he couldn't decide on which character. He goes, I want to do all of them. I'm like, well, it's one per customer. I said, unless you want to do the cover, but I asked these guys just to kind of do this stuff pro bono. No payment or anything like that, because
Sure.
I have to do a Kickstarter for this. And he goes, no, I'll do a cover. So that's the amazing thing I got back from Jaime. And all the artwork, it's different. It's unique takes. And it's just I'm very blessed to have these people just say yes, sight unseen, just yeah, I'll do it. So it was really humbling and
Real humbling, and what you kind of squelched at the end there.
really really humbling, really cool, really awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's great, man. It reminds me of your short story collections that you've done in the past. Deadman and the Spooky Tales comes to mind. Are a lot of the artists that contributed to that part of this?
Yeah, I mean, we have a who's who of stuff. We have Sarah Richard, we have Andy Price, we have the Saturn sisters that worked on Faye and the Moon with me, Eric Wolfgang, Jason May, um, uh, Thomas Boatwright, Thane Benson, just some really cool artists that came on board.
That's awesome. That's terrific, man. Have you ever drawn cards for a role playing game?
I have not. That's what was kind of interesting about this whole thing, like the specs for everything working out. Like, and if you if you ask me about the specifics of the game, because those are the cards right there,
Yeah,
and that's the evolution of one of the characters, Old Scratch himself.
sure.
I had no idea how to play this game. I kind of learned rudimentary, when we were talking about it. But it's a lot of math involved, and he's, thankfully a math teacher, so he worked all that stuff out. But
Okay.
your points against the other characters' points, and how you go about it and all that stuff. So if you ask me the mechanics of the game, I can kind of give you a basic overview. But if you ask me to play with you, I'm gonna be like, well, hold on, let me get the directions. let me read this thing over.
The good news is Jason has created a couple YouTube videos that are on the Kickstarter page too, explaining how to play the game. So
Yep.
if you're really, again, if you're a fan of Franco's work, but aren't necessarily a card guy per se, Jason's got you covered, and you should check that out. And it's up there on the Kickstarter page right now. So please check that out. I'll even put in the chat a link for the Kickstarter as well, so people know where to go. And we'll try and do that on the audio side. Have it in the description. But no, I think this, and again, that's is. Are you able to get the card game itself, and then are the Who's Who and the Pros book? Are those add-ons? I mean, how does it work?
So basically, it works. There's reward tiers on the Kickstarter. And again, this is my first time doing a Kickstarter. So we did one way back in the day for All Yeah Comics, but I wasn't really involved with the Kickstarter. Someone else was running it for us. So this is my first, real foray into it, building the whole thing myself. So, first time doing it, and there's a learning curve, definitely,
Sure.
with some of this stuff. But the you can get the basic game set, which is only $18 for the card game. There's 12 cards in the deck with sets of dice, and if we reach a stretch goal of $200 more after our funding goal, we're going to put in 6 more cards, so it'll be 18 total altogether. But yeah, it's only $18, and then for an additional, I think for $25, you can add in the Who's Who book. I believe it's on there somewhere on the rewards and stuff like that. But if you add on another couple of bucks, then you can get the Dark Atlas book as well. So you could get just the card game, you could get the card game and the Who's Who book, or you could get the card game and the Dark Atlas, or the card game and both of them. It was really important to me to not have them separated, just because, I myself, not being a game person and a card person, I really wanted the component of the comics in there. So what we did was you could get just the card game, but if you want, you could get the card game with the comics. So you can't really get the comic by itself. I think we added it as an add-on as well, for things. But then there's original art up there as well, and we're about 2/3 funded right now. And if I just put it up on my social medias today, but what I want to do is, if we get fully funded by this Monday, which is not far off, we'll give it the weekend. I'm gonna pick 5 random contributors, and they're gonna be able to get an original drawing from me, an 8.5 by 11 full drawing. I have a couple here as an example, so you could get something like that.
Stand by,
Full color.
zooming in.
Yeah,
There
you
it
can
is.
get
Wow.
full color marker for just kind of contributing, and you could get just a game or get the comics and stuff like that. But then I'm going to pick 5 random people to get a drawing, and it'll be full color, 1 character, your choice. Because I'd really like to see this thing come to life and see what happens with it.
Yeah,
It's
man.
been a lot of fun to create these characters.
Well, here I've got, and again I've got the Kickstarter here. So yeah, as you say, $18 for just the card game. If you want the card game with the Who's Who comic book, it's 25.
Right.
If you want the card game with the Dark Atlas book, it's 25. And then if you want everything, it's $30.
Right.
There
So
you go.
yeah, you can get both books and the card game for $30,
Yeah.
plus shipping. And one of the things I think I made a mistake with, but we'll see, is we only have shipping to the United States with this. Because my thought was, we'll put it out there. If anybody internationally wants any of this, they can go ahead and order and contact us. And if we're fully funded, what I'll do is I'll contact them once we're over, and I'll let them know what the shipping is, and I'll deduct the price of shipping from what Kickstarter is going to charge, because they're going to charge you the United States shipping, which is like, let's say it's a flat $10 fee, and you're in Canada and it costs $30 to get it to you. We'll deduct the $10 and charge you, $20 by PayPal or something like that to send it off to you. So, again, it's things like this that I'm throwing up in the air and seeing what sticks. And I'm like, do I want to sell everything internationally? Can I handle all this? So it's a learning curve.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I think that's great, and I'm glad to see you testing the waters of getting into role playing card games. God, there was one store in the Chicago suburbs that I used to go to in Niles, Illinois, before I really got to know all of you guys. And this guy would have Wizard of the Coast events every weekend. And his store really did cater more towards role playing and card games and
Yeah,
statues and other things.
it's a really big world. Yeah.
And it was like Vegas, literally. Like I would go in on a Friday night, and literally he had several tables of hardcore players, man, and it just killed me. And also, I knew Pokemon and the like arrived when ESPN started covering Wizard of the Coast tournaments and things,
Right.
and I'm like, Jesus, man. So, oh, here's Brad. Brad says, looks like a fun game. I ordered it and said I was from the U.S. Brad is a Canadian gentleman. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, we will definitely be able to ship to you, and we'll take care of that. But like it's just, I love the comics industry so much, and we opened up the All Yeah Comics stores, and people are like, well, why are you doing that? And I'm like, we love comics. Don't do that. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna not listen to you and open it anyway. They're like, you're in the comics industry, you're doing comic books. Why would you open a store? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And I'm like, we love comics, and one of the best things about comics is the community of comics and the people I've gotten to know, and just reaching out to, like I said, Scoot was the first one. He drew that thing. When I asked him, he drew it like within days and sent it to me. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. And then I got really jazzed about it and started asking other people. I want to show you Scoot's piece
Sure.
of mine, but let's see. Ooh, I had a glitch. Here we go. This is Scoot's piece that he drew of my character.
Okay.
So it's kind of
Ha.
that's called the frenzy. So he's drawn him, but I've gotten some amazing pieces from people. I mean, there's Sarah Richard. She drew this one. This character is called the One.
Okay.
So I'm not giving away too much, but they're exclusives for you, Johnny.
Well, honestly, I wanted to hear about some of the characters, and unless you're want people to obviously get the Who's Who book and everything.
Well, I do, but I want them to get the story and for the artwork. But I'll show you one more. And this piece was done by Andy Price, and
we love Andy.
Again,
every time I say like we love Andy, all of a sudden I'm doing my Trump imitation. That's great.
Amazing piece, yeah.
So Toro de Diablo.
Yeah, so he's a wrestler who goes up against another wrestler, Angel de Cruz, and he loses all the time to that guy. This guy's really good, so he does something really nasty to Angel, and he becomes one of the Old Scratch's minions, and he gets turned into a real bull, and he looks like that. But just the artwork that I'm getting from people is just awesome.
Jamar is joining us. Jamar Nichols.
Oh, yeah, Jamar.
And fine comic creator in his own right. Did Jamar do a piece or?
I didn't. I'm kind of hoping this goes well because I'd like to do more of it. But we'll see. It's all based on the Kickstarter, and like in my conversations with Jason and Nicholas, is the comic books I can do. We rationed it out, and it's going to cost this much for the comics, and we tried to keep the price really low so we can meet the goal. So we could get this comic for this much, and we could get this book for this much. It's the card game that takes a lot, a lot of the expense. So we're hoping to get funded because the card game, with the books, we thought would be a fun idea. So I think eventually I'm going to come out with the books anyway. It's just going to take longer. But I don't know if the card game would ever be produced if we don't reach our goal. So I'm feeling kind of optimistic. We have about 26 days left, and we're about 2/3 to the goal. So we're hoping that it'll happen.
I get it, man. And no, I think it's a good idea. And, I'm trying, again, my patrons know what I'm doing, but I don't want to announce anything until I'm a little further along in the project because I procrastinate and all of a sudden it's years later. But I feel very motivated right now. And the thing is, you're this, I think you're in the same boat. And this is why I feel a kinship with a lot of comic creators. We have ideas for content. And then the idea is, well, can we beyond the obvious, like you with a comic book, can you create more ideas or put those ideas in different products? And that's
Right.
why I think it's great that you're doing the comic book, but also good to hear that beyond this project, you want to play with these characters in future comics.
I'd love to. I mean, we had discussions about, because again, the dynamics of the game I'm not really familiar with. Oh, thank you, Jamar. That'd be awesome. If you signal boost, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Um, we were in discussions with what to do, and we decided to really keep it at a core 12 characters. And I showed you Andy's version, but this is my version of the guy. Um, and you can see him on the Kickstarter, and all of my original art for these characters is available on the Kickstarter, so you can get that as an add-on. So you can see where it goes from. Sorry, I have to swipe,
Yeah,
but
but
you'll get
uh,
the original
very
artwork. You get the
cool.
original artwork, and then that's the colored version that appears,
Sure.
and the colors were done by Zach Atkinson, who's amazing, and you'll get guys like this,
One moment.
little
Pop it back.
characters like
Very
this
good.
guy. So these were a lot of fun to do, but we discussed the core 12 characters. What can we live with if we can do this? And then one of our stretch goals is, if we want to raise $3,000. We're about two and change right now. If we could get to $3,000, then we're going to get you the 12 card set and be able to produce the 2 books. And we have sticker add-ons and stuff like that. All of that's built into the price. If we could get to like $3,200, everybody gets a thank you. But if we could get to $3,500, we're going to add 6 more cards into the mix. And then after that, we wanted to play with, he's like, oh, we could do weapons cards, and we can do this, and we can do that, and we can branch out the characters and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, you develop all that stuff. I'm having a lot of fun coming up with the stories of these guys, what their origins are, how they kind of interplay and interact with each other. That's where my kind of, uh, bread and butter lies, and I had a really fun time with it. And then being able to work with my son was just a lot of fun with this stuff. Like, we go back and forth with ideas where we're on a document and we're typing at the same time, and I'm erasing his stuff and he's erasing my stuff. I'm like, no, we should do this, and here, so it was just a really fun, creative thing to do with him, and it was fun, creative time with these characters. And then asking Zach to color all my stuff, and then asking the other artists to come on board, just it kind of just gelled together. And now we're hoping that we can get it out into the world.
Is Nick a role playing card guy?
He's played Magic and Pokemon, stuff like that. He's if you were to go in order, it's Jason is the game guy, and then Nick is about that level, and I'm way off the screen, down at the bottom. I used to play video games, and then I would play with him, and he'd just blow me out of the water, in any
Sure.
game, like, because I'm used to the Nintendo controller with 2 buttons, and he's
Yes.
got this big giant thing, and I'm like, I can't keep up with this stuff. I've officially gotten old. I don't know how to do any of this stuff anymore.
Chris Iliopoulos is so right. He's like, there should be like an adult extension class at like community colleges of how all of us old guys and women can do the thing with the current PlayStation things. Oh, I'm horrible, man.
Oh,
I even got my VR MetaQuest stuff, and even those buttons are not the easiest ones to kind of manipulate and stuff. And it's just
right.
like, oh,
Yeah, he's
yeah. If we
he's
go
got
back
the
to
whole
NES, that would be great.
yeah, he's got the whole the Oculus thing, and
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
and
talking about. Virtual reality. Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand any of this stuff. But you want me to draw you a picture? I can do that. I can draw my little picture. You know,
Yeah, but much like Dungeons and Dragons or Magic or
which I
some of
play.
those
Yeah,
other games, yeah, man, you still need the story,
right.
and that's where you come in. So I think that's great.
Yeah, it was a really kind of a big step out of my comfort zone, sort of, for the game.
Sure.
Taking a chance on the game, but the stories and the artwork are kind of where I thrive. And I had a lot of fun with this. I've just been kind of like, since leaving the teaching workforce, I've just been able to kind of really reach out into different directions with a bunch of projects that I'm doing. There's a bunch of projects, that just finished the Teen Titans Go to the Library that came out from DC, where I did a bunch of artwork in that for the first time, because with my school schedule I wasn't able to do a lot of the artwork, and Flash Gordon just got announced that I'm writing with Art Baltazar as
I
well.
want to talk about that in a little bit. Very good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for you, man. Stanley has a great suggestion, and that is, looks cool. Franco and John should play it on stream. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I
Or
don't.
honestly, you and Nick should play it on stream.
Yeah, I think it. I think maybe Jason and Nick should play it, because you and me playing it would be like a hilarious thing to witness. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know how well it would go.
Two senile old guys like, what? What now?
This character does. Wait, you have to add 2, and you got to roll a 6. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, and Mike, man, good to see you, Mike. Mike's in the UK. Although I'm in the UK, made a support pledge, as it looks fun, and Franco's good people.
Oh, thank you very much, Mike.
That's great, Mike. That's excellent. Speaking of Teen Titans, Mr. Monarch wants to know what we think of the Teen Titan movie announcement.
There was a Teen Titans movie announcement?
I didn't realize it either. I'm going to look it up while we're talking and see if I can get some information. I was telling you off the air before we started that James Gunn kind of rattled off a bunch of new or his inspirations for what he's going to do with the DC films. And there was a lot of pardon me, I'm burping. A lot of obvious choices, we've already heard, guys like Tom King, but I was surprised it's Brian Azzarello's Wonder Woman that they're talking about, which I think is interesting. So I don't know.
Well, they have to make a change from what they did previously with Gal Gadot there.
Sure. Well, at least some sort of different thing. Okay, 4 hours ago. I guess the guy. Which guy is this now? Let's see here. Here I could bring the article up, everybody. I'll tell you in just a second.
It must have just happened, because I didn't hear about this at all.
No, only 4 hours ago.
Oh, well, I've been in a cocoon all that time.
As have I. Teen Titans live action movie in the works at DC Studios. This is from Yahoo Entertainment, and it's written by Ben Kay. The post Teen Titans live action movie is in the works at DC Studios. It appeared first on the Consequence website. So live action Teen Titans in the works from James Gunn and Peter Safran, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Anna Nogueira is already on board to write the script. She's recognizable for acting roles in The Vampire Diaries and stars Hightown, and also working on the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, based on the Tom King, Bill Quisevely graphic novel, and that will star Millie Alcock. Oh, wow. So there you go. And otherwise it's just background on have they said which of the team? Oh, and they're okay, what team makes it into the movie is yet to be seen. Fans probably have good money on some version of Robin/Nightwing, Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy being involved. Sure. And the first James Gunn thing is going to be the animated Creature Commandos show. And I don't know when that's going to be out.
Yeah, I also read something about the Peacemaker show, that the first season isn't in the DCU canon of new, but the second season will be, which is, I don't know, it's weird, but I guess so.
No, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But again, I have faith in James Gunn in general. I really think he's cracked the code on what makes superhero movies fun. And I mean, again, beyond what he did with the 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies and the Christmas special, I really loved the second Suicide Squad movie. I think it's terrific. Yeah. And again, and Peacemaker coming from that. Peacemaker or Keeper?
Peacemaker?
Yeah, I think it is Maker. I usually accidentally say Peacekeeper, and Paul Kupperberg always laughs at me when I do that. So. And
but also, I was going to say, also, if James Gunn wants to call me, I'll help out on the Teen Titans movie. I mean, he doesn't know me from Adam, but if he wants to call me, I'm available.
Hey, you never know, Franco. I have a feeling you might run into him in San Diego, and him going, "God, I love the team. I love Tiny Titans." You never know.
That would just I wouldn't be alive after that because my head would explode on the floor of the show. But
I understand. I totally understand. Hey, man, guys like and now shame on me, Phil Lamar.
yeah,
Mad TV, wonderful comedian, great actor. We've loved his work for so many years. But man, I mean, that was like the highest compliment when I approached him about doing a word balloon, but also when I saw him face to face. It's like, hey, John, I listen, and I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
and I know he loves you. I mean,
yep,
he was gushing at you at Terrificon.
yeah.
So
It's always very humbling. Like I like pinch myself sometimes. I'm like, this is real. That's cool.
Tad Stone says, our good friend from Darkwing Duck. That was like, wow,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Meeting him when you brought him over to introduce me to him, I was like, I was a little starstruck. So yeah,
He's the man.
yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, Stanley wants to know, and I already know the answer to this. Is Franco going to any cons? C2E2? Give him your convention list for this year,
Yeah.
Francis.
Hopefully, I'll have the LXT game and books with me. Probably not for C2E2, although I will be there because it'll be in production if we get funded. But I'll be at C2E2, San Diego, New York, Terrific Con. I'm going to Three Rivers Con in Pittsburgh, and I'll be at Heroes Con in Charlotte this year as well. So
Excellent.
that's the rundown of all of them. Yes.
That's
I'm,
fantastic, man.
I'm excited. I haven't been to Pittsburgh in years and years, and it's been a good 5 or 6 years since I've been to Charlotte, so I'm excited to go back.
That's excellent. Well, again, now you got more time and
You know,
devote the full effort now to creating and appearing. And I think
yeah,
that's what.
yeah. It's just I'm having so much fun. Like I got on the other day with Artie and we were talking, and I'm just having so much fun. I'm like creating content. Like I'm kind of like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, wait, do I work on this now, or can I work on this now? And then there's the stuff that is on deadline, so we got to work on that. But in the other times, I'm like, oh, I want to work on. I'm doing a zombie cat book with my son that we wrote together, and I'm doing Fox and Evil, which I have the first issue of, and I just sent the second issue to the printer. And I finished the third issue, sent it to the colorist, and started the fourth issue. So, I'm just kind of all over the place. Do I work on this? Do I work on that? What what can I work on next? And constant ideas with different people and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. I've had the best creative year of my life, even though we've done some awesome stuff in the past, which I will never discount because it's was so fun to work on those. Creatively, I'm just having so much fun in the last year of my life that it's just been awesome.
That's terrific. Now, I want to ask about the Flash Gordon thing because I always love when you and Artie get together, and it's. I mean, I love your original stuff, obviously, but it is fun not only when you play in the DC universe, but some of the other opportunities you've had over the years to play with other intellectual properties, and like the Battlestar Galactica one
Yeah,
shot that you guys did. I adore it. It's classic Galactica. It's Lorne Green Galactica.
yeah.
Although aren't Apollo and Starbuck, it is female Starbuck, isn't it, in your guys' book?
No, we made an allusion to that, but it's definitely the old cast. It's
Okay,
the old cast, and that came
so
about.
maybe because I remember a girl character, right? That was right there with them, or no?
Yeah, I tend to forget because it was a few years ago now.
Yeah, sorry, I
but
know.
uh, but yeah, I remember how that book came together. We were contacted by Dynamite, was doing it at the time, and they're like, "Hey, we want you guys to work on a project. We're doing these one shots," and they gave us a list of stuff that they had. And Art's like, "Well, I don't know. I'm busy. I don't know if I want to work on any of that stuff, right now. I'd like to, but I can't." Was him, and I'm like, "Yeah, but it'd be fun to do something." But they gave us the list. I'm like, "Well, I don't know if I want to devote time to that or that one or that one or that one." And then Battlestar Galactica came up, and I'm like, "Ooh!" I said, "Art, we're doing one." And he's like, "Well, I just told you." I'm like, "No, no, no. We're doing one because this is the one we're doing because I want to do that one." And that's that's why we did Battlestar Galactica. Because I'm like, we're doing that one. The other ones, I'm like, I don't care about, but that one we're doing it, and that's what we wound up doing. Yeah, when I work with Artie, it's it's a different beast. Artie's just like he's like an explosion contained in a little in a little sphere. You know, and it's amazing creatively the way he works. And I think I've been pretty prolific in my time creating things, like this LXT game and a bunch of other things that I've done on my own. But when we kind of cross paths, it just there's a magic there. The stores came about that way. The Oh Yeah Comics stuff came about that way. We did Itty Bitty Hellboy. That talk about a mind blowing moment when we get a call, asking if we want to work on Hellboy. I'm like, wait, the Hellboy with that Mike Mignola guy? That's the one you're talking about. So it's just so much fun, and our writing process has just developed over the years where we don't even write scripts anymore. We just there's a bunch of notes. I type them all up. We talk about them. There's a bunch of notes. I type them. I send them to Art, and he does like a storyboard, and then we come back and he'll read the stuff to me, and I'll say, "Ooh, add this or that," or and it just kind of gels, and it's magic, and it's funny. It's never working with when with him. Like when we're separate, I'm sure it's working. When he's doing the artwork, it's working. But when we're writing, that component, it's never work. It's just laughs and fun. And if we're, we've missed jokes because we were laughing too hard sometimes, in writing them down. But it's just a cool experience.
King Features is the rights holder to Flash Gordon, and maybe they've got a different, name. Well, and Brad here, I'll incorporate Brad's question as I'm asking this, but he wants to know how you got the gig. But further, have you laid out the story, and has King Features approved it?
I can't really talk too much about it because we were put under embargo about talking about it, because I don't think they even wanted to announce.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I could talk a little bit about it, but they were very hush hush about the whole thing. They brought us on board. We got a call because Art's doing a bunch of stuff over at Paper Cuts. He's doing his Yogg's book, and Gilbert, and other things there, and they called and asked if we'd be interested in doing this, and I'm like, this is one of those Battlestar Galactica moments, Art. I'm okay with it. If you want to be on board, I'll definitely do it. And that's basically how that came about. But we had a meeting, email chain where like they showed us the cover of the book, which is out there. You can look it up. They showed us the cover, and they said, we're gonna do this with ads and stuff like that, but we're gonna do a big push. And then the next thing I know, it's online because the book company had already put it up online and stuff like that. So yeah, there's only so much I can say about it. But yes, the story is done, and it's being worked on at a good pace. So yeah,
Excellent. That's great, man. I am such a Flash Gordon fan, and in fact, I even in the last couple days, because again, Big Brother and the algorithms of the internet are watching your every move.
yeah.
All of a sudden on YouTube, I found the Filmation behind the scenes, like 25-minute thing with Lou Scheimer and all the animators. And much like Lou Scheimer, I have loved Flash Gordon since the first time I saw the Buster Crabbe serials. Then I got to know the comic strip and the great Alex Raymond. My God, what a genius. And just the character designs. And I'm really excited to see Artie's, cartoon interpretations of Flash and Dale and Princess Ardala and Ming.
I will tell you, my favorite character by far in our version is Ming. Ming is just it's just so much fun, and not what you'd expect, and just funny, just outright funny.
Yeah. Excellent. No, it's great to hear.
I loved all those old Buster Crabbe serials. I haven't watched them in so long. I should, but yeah, the comics, were just.
I'll tell you, man, the Filmation series. First of all, they made a movie. They made it was a TV movie, and in this behind the scenes thing, Scheimer's like, I cut a deal for a live action Flash movie, but then when we really beat it out, the story and everything, it was just going to be too expensive. And as we learned later, when Dino De Laurentiis did the Sam Jones movie and everything. So I don't know how, but he and I guess the exec at NBC had been in charge of Saturday morning programming and now is in charge of late night program or regular evening programming. And he's like, no, we'll make it an animated movie that will run in prime time.
Wow.
I remember watching it, and it's great. And they used
I have them here on DVD. I have them all here, the Filmation ones. Yeah.
They're good.
Mm-hmm.
And when it became the weekly series, it played just like the cliffhangers.
Yep.
Where it was the problem of the week and then a little teaser of what the next problem was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, they were wonderful. Really, really great. And they were done in the typical Filmation animation style, but the designs were clearly like they were paying attention to Raymond and really and really doing it right. And that's why I've seen the promo piece that's floating out there internet wise of your guys' thing. And immediately everyone's gonna laugh when they see this stuff. Also, my buddy, my and of course I'm blanking right now, my good friend's name, Doug Klauba, from the South Chicago suburbs. Some model company made spaceships that are, really, when you look at the old spaceships, they look like watermelons. I mean, they're so funkily, designed. But as an extra piece beyond getting the models, you get this wonderful widescreen painting, a print of Doug's painting of the whole cast, and Ming is looking above, and it's truly this. I'm like, Doug, it really is one of your greatest painted pieces that he's ever done. Doug took over the Project Superpowers origins that were in Dynamite that started, Alex Ross did the updated designs of all those public domain characters and did the first handful of origins in the back, and then Doug took over for the rest.
Oh, cool.
So Doug's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, those Flash Gordon serials were awesome, and we were talking with Art. I think he mentioned it the other day on our pod, but when we were talking about it, he goes, "You've seen all those?" I said, "Yeah, I haven't seen them in years, but I should look at them again." But he goes, "Yeah, how come everyone was always naked in those?" It's like it's just they have like a loincloth or something like that, and then like the shark men just have a ball cap on, and the the guys they got wigs on and beards, and but they're still naked. Everybody's naked. I'm like, they probably used all their production, their budget money on the beards and wings. They didn't have enough for the rest of the clothes.
Yeah, maybe. No, you're not wrong. Here, Mike Jones, obviously a fan of the Filmation as well. Robert Ridgely's voice for Flash Gordon in the Filmation shows was perfect. He also did Tarzan and Thundar. Absolutely,
I love Thundar. Yeah, I used to watch the Tarzan one and Flash Gordon and the Lone Ranger. But yeah, Thundar was also a big thing that I liked back then.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I've told you before, and I'm sure I've said it before on Word Balloon. I had the opportunity to meet Buster Crabbe, Flash Gordon. Yep. Buster Crabbe, who not only played Flash Gordon, but also did a version of Tarzan, also did Buck Rogers. And it's funny, I think we were talking off the air. We were talking about Shogun, the new Shogun on Hulu. And I was talking about the old one from 1980. And it's like, Richard Chamberlain really was like, you could argue that he was our superhero of the 70s with the Musketeer movies and all the things he did. And I would say, obviously, the same thing about Buster Crabbe in the 30s and 40s. Oh, my God. All the different B movies and cliffhangers that Crabbe did. He was totally one of us. That was amazing.
But Richard Chamberlain, would he have been Wolverine or Cyclops? That's the big question.
That's a good question. Well, but now I would say that he's too good looking to be Wolverine. But I would say he'd be Scott Summers. I think Richard Chamberlain would be Cyclops if you had to cast him. Buster Crabbe, I'd make him Colossus.
Yeah,
and
he was a hefty guy. Yeah.
And not only that, but he had that swimmer's body, kind of adult Nightwing, actually, because he was, he won medals in 32 and 36 in the Olympics. That's how he became, much like Johnny Weissmuller, that's why he became an action hero.
Yeah. I know all those guys because I would watch it with my dad all the time. Those on Saturdays.
A couple months ago on Turner Classic Movies, they had a day of Tarzan movies, and Tarzan's New York Adventure. That's a superhero movie, and it's really cool to see it. And if you watch it thinking that, and there are so many great scenes of him in the loincloth on like a New York balcony about to just swing across the city like Spider-Man would or whatever. Outstanding stuff and really great physical fights and stuff of him fighting gangsters and him even in a suit and doing it and stuff. Oh, I love that movie.
I think I unleashed a monster when I introduced my dad to streaming. He didn't want it. He's like, I don't know how this stuff works. I'm like, no, it's easy. You use your TV remote. No, I don't want it. Man, I've gotten him streaming, and like, he has watched nothing but Zorro, Tarzan movies, like all iterations of Zorro. He asked me the other day. He's like, wait, is there Zorro on here? So in the last month, he's watched all the Disney Zorros. He's watched the '90s Zorro with Duncan Rieger.
Duncan Rieger. What is that streaming on?
I believe that's on the Roku channel. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask my father because I don't even know. I don't even know. But he's watched all those. He watched the Zorros from the 1930s. I go over there just yesterday or today even, and he's watching the 90s Tarzan where I forget the guy's name who starred in it, but he's wearing the boots. He's got a great physique but that's a superhero show. Like there's a guy going in and out of time and trying to kill Tarzan, and he's got this big metal arm that looks like a claw and stuff like that. I'm like, what are you watching? He goes, Tarzan. I'm like, how many Tarzans have you watched? He goes, well, I watched all the old ones. Now I'm up to the new ones. And
wow.
He's going through them all.
You got to show him the Amazon Zorro show.
He's already seen it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you he went through all the Zorros. He's seen all the Zorros already.
That's outstanding. Brad wants to know if has he seen, and I like this movie. I don't know how the gay community feels about Zorro the Gay Blade today, but I mean, gay Zorro is a positive gay character, I believe.
It's been years since I've seen it. I'd have to watch it again. I remember liking it when I saw it. I don't know if it's anywhere that he's going to find it. But
Ron Liebman as the Alcalde, the evil Alcalde, is fantastic in that movie. As the bad guy, he's amazing. And also, all right, I agree with Brad, and this is a good call. He thinks Buster Crabbe would make a great Aquaman.
Yeah.
And Mike says Richard Chamberlain would have been a great Bruce Wayne. I agree with you, man.
Mm-hmm.
And Chamberlain has that tall leading man, great build, body and stuff. So, he certainly in his prime would have made it.
He was king of the miniseries, right? Was that before or after, or while he was doing the movies? Because I remember those being in the early '80s. Yeah,
it was after
the Horny Birds, as I like to call it. It was the
Thorn
Birds, right?
Him and Barbara Stanwyck. Barbara Stanwyck pawing at his body in that, and Rachel Ward.
Rachel Ward. I was trying to remember her name. That's right, Rachel Ward. Yeah.
From Against All Odds and
Against All Odds. That's right. Yeah.
Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. Here, how about this one? As if Franco's dad hasn't seen it, I recommend The Adventures of Robin Hood. Yes, the TV show from the 50s.
He's already seen it.
Robin Hood, fighting through the land.
He's already seen it. You know it. I know it.
A wrinkle about that Robin Hood show, the guy who wrote most of it and produced it was a blacklisted American television producer and film producer who went to England to avoid the blacklist.
Oh, wow.
And brought American sensibilities to British television in the 50s. And it's one of the reasons why that show looks as great as it does. So, it's a great show.
Interesting. I did not know that.
I did not know that. That's my thing, is totally going on YouTube and finding obscure stuff, both television shows and movies. There was an early 70s Zorro movie that the French actor Alain Delon did. And it's great. And it's kind of a sequel to The Mark of Zorro, where Don Diego becomes the governor or of the California territory. And he's fighting a guy who wants Zorro dead. And, and it's cool because it very much plays up the secret identity element of it. And finally, the final sword fight goes on, I'm not kidding, for 10 or 15 minutes.
Wow.
It just keeps going. And it's them literally like fighting each other through buildings and across the courtyard and everything. But before it starts, he whips off the mask and the bad guy knows that it's Don
Yeah.
Diego and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like, all right, now we're fighting.
So
Awesome
do
stuff.
you want to know some obscure information about Zorro that I know? And I may have told you already, but Guy Williams, who was in the Disney series of Zorro, it was such a popular show, but it cost too much, and Disney's like, nope, no more. So he was kind of upset about it. He was like, well, we were doing well, whatever. But then later in life, he went on a trip to Argentina, and it was so popular in Argentina that he was like a god among men there. The government extended him a house to live in, so that's where he wound up passing away in older age, because he had moved to Argentina. He was living there for free, and everybody adored him down there.
Yep.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that was Juan Perón, the Argentine dictator, Evita Perón's wife, or husband rather.
Yeah.
And yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's like, all right, I'm a kept man by the Argentine government.
Yeah.
Pretty
I wonder
cool.
I wonder if they made him put the mask on and come to the ballroom every once in a while.
I bet but I bet he did public appearances all the time.
Yeah.
At Zorro and stuff. I'm sure he did. Hey, Jason is watching.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Jason Giaconetti, everybody, the man.
We're talking LXT, one of the
One of the
creators.
co-creators of LXT, absolutely. So that's cool. And Jason, I don't know if you God, I'm sorry, Jason. Maybe hopefully the thing gets fulfilled. And like I said, and I'm happy to even host it here on the Word Balloon channel. Have you and Nick play the game?
Yeah.
That'd be great. So here's hoping. What else, Franco? I wanted to. I've been shaking my fist at the clouds because critics are getting. Not that I wanted a sneak peek, but truly, honestly, everybody, I'm happy to watch it just like everybody else. But Star Trek Discovery is about 5 or 6 weeks away, and so the initial reviews they released the first 4 episodes of the final season for review. And I am glad to see I am seeing a lot more, at the very least, not A's, but more C's, and like, well, here's the problem with Discovery. And I'm like, great, because I don't want to be alone in my in my frustration with that show. And there was a great thing. I shared it with you guys, with Wayne and Mitch and you in our chat. And they're like, Star Trek, when it's at its best, is kind of a workplace environment drama. But these aren't people that you want backing you up when you're sitting in a foxhole. They're like, these are the people that are in the cubicle next to you that demand you sign birthday cards and can't wait to show you pictures of their kids. And I'm like, that's Discovery. Absolutely. That's like the space stuff is so like in the back of their heads. Does she like me? I don't know. Let's find out. Oh, I'm so sad.
Yeah, we do this. We do this on the Trek Watch, but I've said this before. Very disappointed with Discovery first few years. All the years, all the years. Lower Decks, I was very disappointed with the first 2 seasons, and I readily admit it got better. The later seasons, but Strange New Worlds I thoroughly enjoyed. First season was spectacular, awesome. Second season I like too. I'm just looking forward to more of that show, but I think maybe it's only going to be one more season, right? Or we don't know.
Nobody knows. And in fact,
Discovery is the last season.
This is the last season for Discovery. Well, again, Paramount's kind of in some financial trouble, so I know they obviously are making the 3rd season of Strange New Worlds, but that might be it. They are making the Section 31 movie, and I mean, it sounds like they're still going ahead, at least from a conceptual standpoint, of this Starfleet Academy. What happens with that, we will see, and maybe we will get hints of potential characters in this final season of Discovery. I really don't know, but the one thing that, good Lord, I mean, they have already said that Section 31. I don't know when it's going to debut, and Strange New Worlds, and of course we get another season coming of Lower Decks. But I think the people that are hoping for Star Trek Legacy, a continuation of the Picard show, season 3, with all the characters that Terry Matalas introduced, and the idea of 7 of 9 as captain, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Well,
and that if it happens at all, or if it happens, if Terry Matalas would even be part of it, because he's moved on to other projects and things.
Yeah.
And that sucks. And that's too bad because we're all screaming for it. And they're like, no, Section 31 movie. And Starfleet Academy. It's like, we don't want Starfleet Academy. Oh, yeah, you would, and it's like, okay. I mean, I hate to say it, but I really want Alex Kurtzman to no longer be part of Star Trek and for them to have a new kingpin showrunner, a new James Gunn, if you will, or a Kevin Feige that understands what makes Trek great.
Yeah.
And Metallica seems to get it and can manage to tell modern stories, but also nods to what made Star Trek good in the first place.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
I will continue to watch everything good or bad, though. That's my issue.
Yeah, man. No, I get it. And again, sometimes the word balloon viewers are listening like, well, then don't watch it. And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
That's not an option. Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, again, that's why the four of us talk about Trek when it's new, because we've loved Star Trek since we were little kids.
Yep.
It's our stories, and I get it, man. No, I'm the same way, and I try not to be a troll, but it all comes down to
discovery drives us to it. Yeah.
Well, and as you know, I had problems with Strange New Worlds as well, man. As far as the second season,
right?
I don't know who Jonathan Drake is. Stanley wants him to run Star Trek.
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. Tell us who that is, Stanley. Don't know. No, and again, I think there are people out there that get it and understand it. I'm so mad that it was such a fleeting thought on Quentin Tarantino's part about making a new Star Trek thing. And now it seems like it probably won't happen. So, yeah, I don't know. There you go. Jason, I guess, checked around for Zorro the Gay Blade, but it's not out there anymore right now. I can appreciate that being a problematic movie. And you're probably going to have to go to physical media to find it at this point. So if you want to freak out your father. What?
I'm sure he saw it. He's seen all these movies, over the years, but, he just likes the Zorro episodes from Disney. He's seen them all before. He's seen them all many times, but he just started on a binge and just started watching them all recently again.
Jason says he meant Jonathan Frakes.
Ah.
I don't think Jonathan Frakes is a showrunner producer. He's a director, and there is a difference. And I don't think he's ever expressed interest. And also, God bless him, he's getting up there too. He might be 70 or whatever now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Gene Roddenberry when he was brought back for Next Generation. First of all, did not take care of himself, but secondly, was an older guy, and that kind of job. I don't know. I mean, again, you really need lieutenants to kind of help you implement stuff because really being that kind of showrunner.
He was too much of a control freak, though. Yeah, to have that.
Well, and again, I think that's why the first season has so many weird, goofy things in it, and also, God, I don't know if you've ever. I read his novelization of the first motion picture, which he got paid a lot of money to write. And there are some weird things in there, and it opens with Jim Kirk kind of doing narration before we get into the story. And he talks about having a love coach. And there was just a lot of kinky things about Gene Roddenberry that it's like, maybe we don't want to know this part of you. I don't know. Why don't you make those skirts a little bit shorter? That'd be good.
Is that available on audio? I want to.
It is. Actually, it is.
Is it? I gotta write that down.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture, absolutely. The novelization, absolutely. I started, and sorry, everybody, I don't mean to turn into this to Trek talk, but it's been a while since we've done it. We'll reconvene before Discovery starts, and have at least one pre-show where we'll get Mitch and Wayne's ideas of what they think and stuff. But I started to listen to Michelle Hurd and Jerry Ryan did an audio play, a fully dramatized audio play that's on Audible and stuff. And I'm about a half hour into it, and it's good. It's good. And again, I really wasn't crazy about their relationship, not in any sort of anti-gay way, but it just seemed to come out of nowhere. And I'm just like, okay, we got like literally 30 seconds of them holding hands in the final episode of Picard season 1, and it's like, all right, I guess they're a couple now. It's like, I don't know where that, again, it's like maybe a little setup would have helped, but whatever, that's fine. I don't know. I don't know. And I'll be honest, that second season was such a mess on so many levels, including them trying to figure out how to drive a 4x4 or whatever. It's like,
Right.
yeah, crap. Anyway,
Yes,
there you go.
I agree.
Yes. Well, there you go. Yeah, here. All right, Brad. Good suggestion. Mark Guggenheim would be amazing to run Star Trek. He has written a very good IDW miniseries that takes place in the motion picture era, the first movie, and
Yeah.
it's very good. It's very good.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that sentiment as him as showrunner.
He'd be amazing. Absolutely. So I like it. Anyway, Francis,
Yes.
I appreciate you coming on, and us. I
I
appreciate us
you
talking
having me.
about. Absolutely. Here, I'm going to. I'll bring back the Kickstarter before we're done. First of all, here, everybody, it's in the chat, but here it is as a banner for the
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
And if you're on audio, just go to Kickstarter and just type in LXT, and it'll come up. So you'll be able to see it if you do the search.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And sorry, hold on. I'll get to it. I want to show
I'm
everybody.
excited. I'm hoping people will help fund it. We're 2/3 of the way, and like I said, if we get fully funded by Monday, and we're still 26 days out or 27 days out, whatever it is right now. But if we get fully funded by Monday, 5 lucky winners are going to get a free sketch when we send out all the rewards. You'll get a sketch of your choice of one character, in full color. But I hope you kind of just check it out. And if it's not your thing, if you're not into horror books at all, or you're not into the card game aspect, if you would share it and kind of get people out there looking at it, I would appreciate that as well.
There you go, everybody. I think we moved the meter a little bit, Franco, and got a couple more people checking it out and helping you guys out. So, absolutely, man. No, my pleasure. Well, thank you for coming on, and that'll do it for this week of live shows on Word Balloon Live. But we've got more great content coming up next week and throughout the month of March. So I hope you'll join us then. Until next time, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.